Hi, it's Rob from Game Developer Studio. This is a quick preview video for the new auto animate functions in GDS editor. I've already prepared a scene with 5 or 6 components on, and I'm going to show you how you can quickly add animations to these components. Like any GDS component, all you have to do is select the component to explore the properties, and on the right you can see the properties list. The animations is a new property, so it's over here, the auto generated animation property. So let's click on that, and as you can see, we open up a new animation palette. Currently this component doesn't have any animations applied, so let's apply a new animation. We'll add a component movement, and we'll make this little taco character move. As you can see, after adding the component animation, it's applied a new animation and put it on the animation palette for us. So all we have to do to edit this is click on it, and we now can view and change the animation properties. So let's change the type of movement. Normally we start on a blank slate. If we press play, you'll see that the animation does nothing because there's no properties added, but all we have to do is click on one of the presets and you'll see that that animation is applied. So if you want to give an idle animation to your character, just click the idle and that's done. So we don't need to do anything more apart from rename it. And as you can see, there's our idle animation in the palette. Now let's go ahead and add a new animation, component movement, and let's see what we can add. Let's see what goes on with these. So we could add a jump, we could add a wobbling, we could add a bounce away for a die animation. Let's just go and add that to our list. Die. Let's add one more animation from the component movements. Let's see what these shuffles do. We can use one of these to make our component bob along or move. Let's rename it and close. So now we've got 3 animations: idle, die, and move. So those are the component movement animations. Now let's look at adding a destruct animation. I'm going to select this block, and again, from the properties list on the right, I'm going to add an auto-generated animation, add new animation, and this time instead of component movement, I'm going to add a destructor. So as you can see, it's added the destructor in our palette. Now I will select this destruct and let's see what animations are available to us in destruct. So we've got blank state, which does nothing, and we've got blast apart, crumble away, a unidirectional blast, blow away, which is a disintegrate, a tornado. We can slice it up, spiral in, make it dissolve, bounce break, and blow up. So I think for a stone, just a simple blast apart is good enough. I'm going to stop it and I'm going to pan through using the timeline slider. Now I don't actually like the size of these particles, so I'm going to change the animation mask size. I'm going to set that to 120%. So we can change the amount of particles by changing the mask size. Maybe a bit bigger. Yeah, that's about right. Let's press play and see what that looks like. Yeah, that's probably enough. Okay, so let's put that as explode. And as you can see, we've got a new explode animation on the palette, which you can access and preview at any time. Like so. You can use the various animation styles across the different types of components in the editor. For example, adding idle effects to plants and environment props to bring your levels alive, adding taps and movements to UI elements, and the various destruction animation styles for environment props, like this slice up on this vine, and of course bringing inanimate objects to life. The animation tool comes with some of GDS Editor's handy copy and paste tools, so if we want to take an animation that we created for this stone, for example, all we have to do is select the animation, which was this explode, copy it to the style clipboard, and let's go ahead and select this crate and we'll paste in the animation. As you can see, this animation's been applied to the crate. So now we've got the same animation that we made for the stone on the crate. If we want to save an animation that we've created, we can right click and add it to our inventory. We'll call this one animation. Let's give it a keyword, and we can save this now to our inventory, and then we can import our animation anytime we want using the inventory. So as you can see, that's put a component with the animation. We can save animations that way. If you'd like to add your own animation style or create a new animation, you can do so with a blank animation. So just add a new animation, go to Advanced Animation Tuning, and here you can control all the properties of the animation over time. So let's look at rotation. If you'd like to have rotation, as you can see, a simple spin, you can control the style of rotation, and you can pretty much control everything about the rotation and how it behaves over time via these settings. Once you're satisfied with the animations that you've added, you can export them using the batch exporter from the animation palette. In this taco, for example, I've created 4 animations and now I'm going to export them. So I'll use the batch exporter. As you can see, it presents us with the list of the animations that we've created, the number of frames that will be exported, which we can change using the sample rate. So if we change the sample rate to 200, we can control the amount of frames. So the frame rate is directly tied to the sample rate. As you can see, there are various export options. We can export to sprite sheets, keyframes, and currently there's a Godot importer which is available from GitHub. The link to it's there. But for now, we're going to export in sprite sheet. So I will select sprite sheet. We probably don't want 56 frames for a sprite sheet, so let's put the sample rate higher, and that'll give us less frames. 12 frames for die is probably about right. Slice up, 20 frames, probably about right. And move, probably want a bit more frames, so let's put it around to about 70, 60, 17 frames will do. And as there's multiple animations, I'm going to use equal bounds for all animations, and what that's going to do is make sure that every frame across all animations has exactly the same dimensions, so that when you change animation, it doesn't jump. The X and Y position of your sprite won't jump on the scene. So I'm going to select use equal bounds, and we're going to check out this sprite sheet. So once we've set it up, I'm going to confirm the export. That might take a couple of seconds to write it for you, and I'm just going to overwrite this one that I did for testing. Yes. Now let's open a new scene, and I'm going to bring in those sprite sheets that we just created for animation just to test them. You'll probably want to use these in your game engine, but I'm going to have a look at how they turned out in the editor. So I'll move to the file. Let's bring all 4 in, and that's dropped the sprite sheets into the editor for us. I'm going to quickly set up and slice these so I can preview some of them. Let's have a look at the move. Let's slice this. We'll use the slicing and frame animation tool. That's 4 frames by 4 frames. Let's apply and let's have a look how this animation turned out. Okay, so you've got a lot of padding in this frame because we used the equal bounds. Let's check out the slice. As you can see, the slice animation exports correctly, ready for you to insert directly into your game project. If you're using Godot, you can export a Godot JSON data file. Let's export that now. And you can grab the importer, which you'll have to put into your add-ons folder in Godot from GitHub, which is here, the animation importer. This is the first version, so I can't guarantee there's no bugs. As you can see, inside the export folder, we have a PNG image of the base file and atlas, which is created for the slice up and destructor animation, and the import data, which is a JSON file. So I've created a blank Godot scene, and I'm going to bring in the export folder and I drag it into my scene. In the add-ons folder, I've already downloaded and installed the GDS importer, and I'm going to open the Godot Taco, and on the import data I'm going to select it. I'm going to go to Project, Tools, and Import GDS Animator Animation, and as you can see, it's built a scene for us, so I'll bring that onto our scene, and using the animation player we can test the animation. So base, we've got the die animation, idle animation, move, and the slice up animation. If you're using Unity, currently there's no Unity animation. I'm working on that for the moment. I'll post on GitHub when it's done. Any animations that you add to components will be saved when you save your scene file. Also, any animations that are added to components will also be cloned and duplicated when you duplicate the component. As you can see, each duplicate has its own animation list, and any save files of GDS save files of components will also contain the animations. Those are the new animation and destruction functions in GDS Editor. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.